Hey guys, welcome back to Mishmas. I've got sparkles on. We're gonna do a glam look. We're gonna get ready for New Year's Eve or any kind of like holiday parties you may still have, because Natasha Denona came out with a mini glam palette and it just arrived in the mail. I am so excited to give this a shot. This color story is just right up my alley, and I think someone tagged me on Instagram and they tagged me and they were like, "This is so you," and I was like, "It is." And I think the timing of it is great, because talk about a great kind of like New Year's Eve, like fun kind of palette. So we're gonna be doing like a whole like glam party look today. Oh, I also ordered the new NARS Overlust cheek palette. I have not picked up a NARS cheek palette ever. I always feel like it's just like overkill and that there's only going to be like one or two shades in there that I'm going to use and the rest I'm not going to use. But this one looked really, really interesting because I thought maybe I could use all of them. So, oh wow, look at this lid. It looks like it's all like crinkled, and there's 6 shades in here. Ooh, yeah, these look really, really nice. So these look like shimmery blushes, and then these look like satin blushes. So we'll use this too. Yeah, I think these will go together. This is definitely kind of like a neutral toned palette, I feel like. So awesome, I think that'll work out. All right, let's go ahead and start with some foundation. So I already have down my Victoria Beckham primer. So for foundation, I'm gonna use my La Mer Soft Fluid Foundation. I love this foundation, and this is one of the foundations in my collection that has a little bit more coverage than my average, you know, light medium coverage. I feel like the La Mer coverage is like medium. You can build it up to medium full, and I just love the way this makes my skin look. So I have Neutral 22 and Natural 12. Neutral 22 is definitely the one that I opt for. Oh, it looks like it's almost empty. And then Natural 12 is when I'm feeling a little extra and I want to maybe add it to like the center of my face or use it on like the lighter, cooler parts of my face. So we'll go ahead and start with Neutral 22. Ooh, before we start, I'm going to put on some lip balm. I've been forgetting to put on lip balm, which is crazy considering it's the winter time. Just as the By Terry Balm de Rose. It's like a little mini one that came out with their holiday collection. And I've got my BK Beauty 101 foundation brush. And I'm just gonna sweep this all over. And I'm using the Neutral 22. I don't know if I feel super high maintenance today to have to use 2 different color foundations. So we're just gonna go with this one. And I don't think I've gotten that much paler yet this winter, so we'll see if this works. Yeah, I think the Neutral 22 still looks pretty good. All right, let's move on to concealer. I've got my Estee Lauder Double Wear Radiant Concealer in shade 1C, and this is definitely higher coverage than like the Sisley one that I've been using. And a few of you have asked me why I picked 1C when I usually go for something neutral. And it's because the C, I don't actually feel like it's very cool. I don't think it's very pinky at all. You guys can probably see it on my skin tone. It actually looks very, very peachy. If anything, I think it's kind of like a neutral warm. And I was lucky enough to purchase this in store, so I could kind of compare it to the other 1W and 1N, and those were even more peachy. So I just went with the 1C, which is not very cool, just FYI if you're interested in this concealer. But it is great. It has great coverage, great texture. It doesn't sink into my fine lines or anything. And yeah, it wears well all day. I don't usually conceal bits of my face because I'm pretty much just too lazy. But since we're trying to do kind of like a glam look, I'm going to add a little bit of this down here where I have like red blotchy hyperpigmentation, and just blend it in with my foundation brush. Maybe a little bit around the nose. I'm gonna use my Trish McEvoy Deluxe blender for this area. The BK Beauty brush is a little bit too big for these crevices here. All right, so, you know, I was automatically just reaching for my By Terry hyaluronic powder to put under my eyes and my Kogan dough powder to set all over my face. But again, you know, I don't usually do like a full glam kind of look. So I was like, wait a second, what kind of powder would I use for a full glam? So I've pulled out a couple here, and I've got the Absolute Pesh from Lancome, which has quite a bit of sheen to it. And I always talk about how I wouldn't use this like on a normal day, but it would be great for going out or for a party, which would be this occasion. So I took that out. I took out the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, but the glow version, which is kind of similar to the Lancome. And then I also pulled out my La Prairie, which doesn't have a sheen to it, but it has a little bit more coverage. It makes your skin look a little bit more mannequin-like, flawless-like. I think I want to try the Lancome. Let's go with the Lancome because, again, this is just not something I would use for every day, but it's great for a party. Yeah, I just had to make sure because I have Absolute Pearl from Lancome and Absolute Pesh, and I always forget like which one is which because the names make zero sense. So the Absolute Pesh is the one that has a little bit of sheen to it. It's like a very subtle highlight. The Absolute Pearl actually looks a little bit more peachy and has no pearl sheen whatsoever. It's like kind of like a matte kind of setting powder. So it's very, very odd. Anyway, let me go ahead and apply some of this Absolute Pesh to my skin. I guess I'll use my Sonia G Face One brush. I usually reserve this brush for finishing powder, but because this has a sheen and I'm gonna want to kind of buff it in, I'm just gonna go ahead and use this brush. So I'm gonna pick up some powder and then start stamping it on. Ooh, that was a lot. That is such a glow. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, but for me, it's not a very everyday kind of look. I'm starting to match my shirt here. I feel like my face is looking very, very sparkly. All right. I feel like I could maybe get used to this very pearly kind of setting powder. I mean, it's definitely, it's extra. It's definitely a little overkill. I don't know if I've reached like Tin Man status, but kind of close. All right, let's do some contour. I've got my Scott Barnes sculpting palette out here. And generally I just go straight into Carve, which is this color here, which I'll probably do today, but I may mix it up with Diced, which is a little bit deeper, but has like a similar neutral tone. Sometimes I mix this in if I'm feeling like a little bronzy, because you can see this is a little bit warmer, but I think I'll stick with these two since I'm just going to like strictly contour, and then I'm probably gonna go in with a bronzer. So I've got my Sonia G Sculpt One brush, and I'm gonna dip a little bit into Carve, dip a little bit into Diced, and just add it right underneath here. Just my hairline over here. When I strictly contour, I just keep it like right here because my face is definitely much wider. I don't have a long face, I have a wide face. So I'm just gonna contour right along the side here. All right, so that's just a little bit of cheek contour. I'm debating about the nose contour. I should just contour like this side. So maybe I'll try that. Let's see what happens. Let me make sure I take a fluffy brush. I don't want anything too stark. And I think I'm going to use a synthetic haired brush because I don't necessarily want a brush that picks up like a lot of product, which natural hair brushes tend to do. Yeah, so I'm going to use my BK Beauty 201 brush. This is like their eye blender brush. I'm going to go into Carve and just Carve, the lighter one, because I'm a chicken. Add a little bit here. I'm getting cocky now. I'm taking a smaller blender brush. This is the Refer number 13 brush. I'm gonna go back into Carve and just make this line a little more pronounced here. I feel like it looks like I contoured one side of my nose. All right, well, let's see what happens once I apply the rest of the makeup. I do feel like contour looks very, very stark until you put everything else on, and then it kind of just blends away. We'll see. We can fix it at the end if we need to. But let's go ahead and add a little bit of bronzer all over. I've got my Natasha Denona Tan Bronze and Glow palette. This bronzing powder tends to be a little bit too deep for me, but if I go in with a very light hand, it works. So that's what I'm gonna aim to do. I haven't used this palette in a while, so I wanted to use it today since we have this Natasha Denona little palette here. So I'm gonna use my Refer P22 brush, which is really super fluffy, but it does pick up a lot of product. So I'm gonna be sure to dip in here and kind of knock some off and just add this to where I would normally bronze forehead. Top of my nose there. Ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot. The under the sunglasses area. Just gonna buff out my nose a little bit. That looks a little bit strong there. Okay. All right, and next, let's try this NARS Overlust palette. Wow, these are pretty. So here are some swatches of this NARS palette, and I'm gonna go across the top and then along the bottom. And the top row are the highlighters, and these are like a gel to powder formula, so they almost feel like a cream in the pan. So we have Tied Up, Deep Down, and then Drift. And then the three bottom blushes, Let It Burn, Get Lost, and Body Talk. Those are not like a gel powder formula. Those have more of like a pressed powder feel to them. So I want to go into this shade, the Body Talk shade. It just seems the most neutral. This is very pink, this is very peach, and then this just seems kind of right in the middle. I'm going to grab my Chikuhodo GSN4 brush. Woo! All right. That is pigmented. Doing a lot of buffing today. All right, and then let's check out these highlighters. So I'm gonna take my Smashbox cream cheek brush and run it into this first light shade, which is Tied Up. And I'm going to kind of stamp that on. Ooh, doesn't seem like it's moving any product underneath either, which is what I was afraid of. But I am just stamping. I'm not really sweeping too hard here. Very interesting formula. I really like this. You know, these down here, these blushes, they actually remind me of the Laura Mercier blushes. They feel really, really hard packed, but you pick up product really easily, but there's like little to no kick up or like dust or anything, you know, like it doesn't make a mess in the pan at all. It's just, it's so interesting, but it reminds me of the Laura Mercier blush color infusion blushes. All right, I'm going to also go for a little bit of a bolder brow. So I've got a pencil here, which I'll use to fill in, and then I've got my Tom Ford for Men Brow Gel Comb, which is slightly tinted, and so it'll add a little bit more pigment to my brows. But I'm gonna go ahead and fill in. All right, brows done. Now on to the fun part. I've got the Natasha Denona Mini Glam palette here. Here is a close-up of this palette. So we have three different finishes in here. We have some metallics, we have a creamy matte, and then I think we have a cream to powder. I think that's what CP stands for. So here are the swatches of these 5 shades going from left to right. We have Golden Flesh, which is a metallic. Harlow, which is, I believe, a cream to powder. Anjo or Anjo, A-N-J-O, which is a metallic. Seed, which is a creamy matte. And Faye, which is a metallic. All right, I've got my Sonia G Blender Pro brush. I'm gonna go into this light matte, well, cream to powder shade, Harlow. And I'm going to apply this to the outer corner, crease area, socket line area, whatever you want to call it. This part of my eye right here. Not easy to see on camera. The lighting is definitely blowing it out, but if there's like a little hint of color there, it's like a little bit deeper than my skin tone. But I just want to go right into these metallics because they look so, so beautiful. I've got my Sonia G Worker 1 brush, and I'm going to go into Faye, the lightest, kind of brightest color in here, and I'm going to just add that to the inner portion of my lid. See where that goes. Wow, that shade is beautiful. It looks wet on the lid. Definitely experiencing some fallout with this shade. I see bits of it all over my face, but because I have such a sheen on my skin, it's almost unnoticeable. So I think I'm just gonna leave it there. And then next, I'm gonna use my finger actually and try out this middle shade, the Anjo or Anho shade. I'm gonna use my ring finger. Just press this onto the outer portion of my lid there. And then kind of press it on top of this Faye color. kind of blend the two. And then I'm going to take that Worker 1 brush and kind of blend it out. There's a little bit of the face shade left on here, but not much, but I do think it's helping it kind of blend. Wow, that combo is really pretty, these two shades. Oh, I really like that. I'm going to use this shade to just kind of darken up. I'm going to like line my lashes with it, probably add just a little bit of dimension to the outer corner there. I'm going to use the Sonia G Mini Booster Brush for the outer corner. Just kind of press it in there. This very innocent looking like little blender brush really packs a punch. I'm always so surprised like how concentrated it can lay down product. So I'm just gonna go in and soften it up a bit with this Worker 1 brush. I'm grabbing this Esom S31 brush and going back into that Seed shade and running that underneath my lash line. And along the upper lash line too. Taking that same brush and going into that center metallic shade, Anjo, kind of running that underneath the Seed shade. I've got my Trish McEvoy Intense Gel Eyeliner in Deep Aubergine, which is like just a very deep brown, and it needs sharpening. And I'm gonna run this in my waterline. And then tight line with it and just run it like in my lash line a bit there. I'm actually going to take the smudger side of this eyeliner and just kind of run it along my lash line. Okay, you guys, I'm going to put on some false lashes for this look. I've got the Eylure Naturals. They're the number 31s and they are very natural, but these are the only ones that I have and they're just gonna have to do. But I would probably opt for something, especially doing kind of a glam look, I would probably opt for something with a little bit more lash to it, but these will help my incredibly wimpy lashes. And so I'm gonna trim off just like a couple off of the ends here. And I actually enjoy the Eylure lash glue that comes with these lashes. Also, I don't curl my lashes before I put these on. I curl them after just to kind of combine them. And if I curl my lashes, I feel like I can't get these where they need to get to. And I feel like is that right? Most people curl their eyelashes and then they put falsies on? Anyway, I curl them after. So let me just plop these on. These are not sticking. I have to put more glue on these. All right, fake lashes are on-ish, kind of like red lipstick. Like this is as good as it's gonna get. I am truly amazed by people who wear false lashes every day. All right, I've got my Tom Ford Badass Mascara. I have such like fluttery eyelashes. Oh no, these eyelashes are lifting. I thought these were really stuck down. Maybe I didn't wait long enough. Crisis averted. There was enough glue on the eyelash band that I could, yeah, stick it down. And then I have this clump of glue down here that I think it's dry, but it's still white. Can you guys see that? That better dry clear. All right, well, thank goodness that's it for eyes. So I do just want to point out, I have the Biba palette with me right here, and Seed is a color that appears in the Biba palette. I don't know, I don't think any of these other colors appear anywhere else. So Seed is just this dark brown matte color. All right, so on to lips. I'm looking at my face and I feel like I should either do something really, really dark or really, really light. I think I want to go really, really light just because this top is so like nude and sparkly. All right, I'm going to go with a very nude kind of lip. So I pulled out my Tom Ford Blush Nude lipstick, which has definitely seen better days, really beat up looking. And then I have the Gloss Luxe in Crystalline, which I thought I could put on top. And then I have the Sisley lip liner in Beige Naturel. So hopefully all of this will work well together and work, you know, well with this look. I think it will. All right, so there's the lip liner and the lipstick. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this lip gloss on top. All right, so here is my final look. This top, I forgot to mention, I got this at like H&M. I'll link it down below if I can find it online, but I did get this at H&M. And yeah, I'll link everything that I have on my face down below. Just a quick summary. I am enjoying this NARS palette so far. Like I mentioned, I really enjoy this formula. The gel to powder formula, I think it worked really well on my skin. It didn't pick up any product underneath that I was afraid that kind of like gel cream kind of product would do. It didn't do any of that. And then this is a really lovely, interesting kind of like powder formula, very similar to that Laura Mercier blush formula that I really enjoy. So far, this is a really big winner. And I really enjoyed using this mini Glam palette. I love the color story. I think all of the shades in here are very pigmented. I think they're all very true to color. None of these really kind of like changed on me, which sometimes happens with like Charlotte Tilbury and Natasha Denona shadows. I feel like sometimes they go a little bit orangey, a little bit warmer on my eyelid. I didn't experience that with these shades at all. I think they work really nicely together. The only one I didn't try is this one, but these four were very lovely. Very, very lovely. So that is it for this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.